This is the San Diego Mesa College Admissions Appeals Workshop video. My name is Ann Hedekin. I'm the Transfer Center Coordinator and a Transfer Counselor. I want to start off by saying I know it probably doesn't feel too good to be in this position that you're watching this appeals video. However, I also want to let you know that we are here to support you. If Plan A doesn't work out, we're going to help you with Plan B so that you can keep your transfer goals and dreams alive. And we can also support you in pursuing other options and figuring out your next steps. So on that note, if you'd like to download the PowerPoint, you're going to need to go to the San Diego Mesa College Transfer Center subpage, Workshops and Events page, find this video and download the PowerPoint link. So there'll be a link to the YouTube page and then a link to the PowerPoint. So workshop learning outcomes. Our goals for today are to review the processes and steps for admissions appeals and hopefully get you that winning appeal that is successful. So reasons why you should file an appeal: you've been denied to campus, but you have additional information you'd like reviewed. So in the case of the CSU application, there's no way to include personal information that might impact your admission. If you feel like you could potentially be denied or you were denied for a reason that you weren't able to share. In the case of a UC application, they have the PIQs as well as the small comment boxes, but if something occurred after you submitted your application or it's something you weren't sure you should include that's new and compelling, then it's for sure a good idea to complete an appeal. And also sometimes schools have admissions numbers by campus or by major that they need to meet, and it might be that you are the lucky one for your appeal to be successful and that you just have to ask and let them tell you yes or no. So reasons to file an appeal: it's always, as I said, an extenuating circumstance, something new and compelling, something that you were not able to communicate on your initial application, you were unsure if you should communicate it, or it happened after you submitted your application. These can include, but they're not limited to, medical constraints, financial burden, any kind of family issue, family commitment, child rearing children, care of an elderly person, caretaker, anything of that nature. Depending on the type of mistake on the application, and it could be a technology issue or military related issues like being deployed or spouse being deployed or something related to military service. So appeal approvals are contingent upon space. So what that means is you could have a good reason for being denied or to being accepted after you appeal. However, if there's not enough space, they can't let you in. So you might have to sit out a year. I mentioned before, you can also come to the transfer center, either an appointment, a day drop-in, or a live transfer talk, and we can go through Plan B and help you come up with an option if you want to keep going with your transfer goals. If you don't, perhaps want to wait a year. And just a word, sometimes in some cases, appeals submitted for missing deadlines, changing your major, failure to pay, not checking email, or missing requirements typically are not approved at impacted campuses unless there is a very good reason for it, for these instances to have occurred. So steps for filling out an appeal: carefully read all the information in your denial letter, review your admissions application and determine any mistakes. So if you saved a copy, that'll be really easy. Sometimes you can go back into Cal State Apply or the UC application and review your application. Sometimes you can't, and we always ask you to download a PDF so that you can have it for backup and to review later if needed. If that doesn't work out, contact the admissions office for the individual campuses and inquire exactly why you were denied admission. And I would say do this either way. You might have your reasons, but you should always contact the school and confirm why you think you were denied. Research the appeal process and deadlines for each individual campus because they are different and they are very specific. So you can't assume that one size fits all. You'll also have to submit your appeal and include documentation to support your reason for appeal and create a backup plan, as I mentioned before. And each campus has a different process, so it's really important to follow instructions. And again, don't assume it's one size fits all. Things to include in your appeal: if it's not specifically outlined on your portal or if it's not specifically communicated to you from an admissions officer or from their webpage. These are things that usually go into an appeal. So the appeal form, a letter explaining your reasons for your appeal in which you want to be very specific, documentation supporting your claims, and as I mentioned, medical, financial statements, military documents, include official transcripts or unofficial, depending on what they say. Usually it's an unofficial followed up by an official, and then official test scores if you're using AP tests or SAT, ACT, or anything like that. And a letter from the campus if that's required. It's not in most cases, but sometimes it is. So you'd have to reach out to the appropriate person on campus and make sure that you got documentation from them. So format, include the date, address to the admissions office, include the campus address. In the subject line, you want to address appeal, maybe include your name and your prospective student number, a salutation. In the body, explain or address the reasons why you're requesting an appeal and the reasons why the circumstances occurred. And in the closing, you want to thank them. Signature typed and signed, include your full name, student ID, phone number, and email, and make sure you set up your voicemail and have a greeting and you check it, and then make sure you're using a correct email address that you are checking. So appeal letter tips, keep it to one page, be specific, provide as many details as possible related to the reasons why you got denied and solutions or mitigating factors or explanations for the factor. Include factual information. Do not try to manipulate the reader. Threatening, cajoling, begging, pleading, flattery, and making extravagant promises are not going to be helpful. And they have to review a lot of these, so you want to make it direct and to the point. And I always say just kind of cut out a lot of the fluff and just be very specific. Avoid errors and proofread. Keep copies of your appeal package as well so you can refer to it later. Here's an example of a letter. This is one for a UC. It follows the pattern I mentioned before. However, this is not what you would do for all schools. And we are going to look at SDSU's appeal process now. So they have a very specific appeal process. You have to appeal within 30 days. And you can only submit one appeal per term. You have to prepare documentation. It is a complete package. It's a 2-page form that you must fill out and include official documentation. It's very specific. We have a PDF we're going to show you in the next slide. It will tell you how they want you to submit the appeal. Now, since COVID, there have been more options for submitting the appeal. I don't know if it will change, but it's either email or in person or through the mail. But you need to check the form because, as I said, it's kind of fluid and things change. These days, it takes about 12 weeks to get an admissions decision. And also because of COVID, they're going to notify students depending on what is going to work best for them. So it could be email through the portal or through the snail mail, but you have to be checking all three. Make sure your email address is correct and all your contact information is correct, and make sure you check your email address. This is the appeals form. It's very specific. You need to go through each section carefully and make sure you understand that you filled it out properly and you understand what they're asking and that you've already contacted SDSU and determined exactly why you were denied so that you can address that reason specifically in this letter. There's an example. Here's the space where you get to write your letter. I would just kind of keep it to 3 parts. And just remember to keep it to the point and simple. You provide your introduction, name, red ID number, indicate why you were denied and your reason for this letter. In the body of appeal, you want to address the reasons why you were denied specifically. You can use bullet points, whatever is comfortable for you, but remember you want to keep it short and to the point, not a lot of platitudes. And then part 3 is any extenuating circumstances like military commitment, family issues, other reasons why you can't leave San Diego and you're place bound. And you want to explain things like that in part 3. And then you can conclude, thank you, and a salutation. UCSD's appeal process and other UCs are a little bit different. They tend to be very rare. UC applications are reviewed thoroughly by 2 readers at least, and in some cases more. And they have the PIQs as well as the comment boxes. So they feel like they usually get enough information about a student. But if you didn't include something or something happened after you submitted your application and you feel it's worth addressing and pursuing, I would suggest you do that. Let them tell you no. I would always go and pursue this if you feel like it's a legitimate reason. And again, that's like new and compelling academic information or something in your circumstance, in your life circumstance. And then you would submit the appeal online via the portal at UCSD or however they're telling you now, because these things do change. And again, this is our contact information. It's 619-388-2473. You can call that number to set up an appointment or drop in. We also have live transfer talks, and you can come in and we can help you with this process. This is our email address right here, mesatransfer@sdccd.edu. If you choose to send us an email, it's going to take at least 48 hours for us to respond. Please leave your name, current phone number, and hopefully you have a voicemail with a greeting that you check, and your CSID number. We'll call you back. If you don't hear from us, it could be that your email got directed to the spam filters, so please give us a try if you don't hear within 48 hours. We're on the 3rd floor of the Student Services Building, I-400-306, and we have a link to the Transfer Center page right here, and you can find all of our events, hours, contact information. And again, I know it doesn't feel good to be in this situation, and I just want you to know that we are here to support you. We're here to help you with Plan A, and if Plan A doesn't work out, we're going to help you with Plan B and do everything we can to see you achieve your transfer goals and dreams, because that's what we're here for, and we want to be your support system. So please reach out, and we will do our best to help you accomplish whatever your goals are.